they have never gone that far in the series.
Scream has always been actually very light for an R rating. I always joke with Scream, it's kind of people that once they cross the PG-13 R rating line, they stop. They really do. I mean, they've never really gone far, and even this one isn't far enough. But it's the farthest they've gone, and I do appreciate that.
Guys?
It's insane, right?
Art the Clown.
I'm something different.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another modern horror movie talk. I'm your host, Tyler Nichols, and today we've got Lance Velchek with us from the Arrow in the Head show. So, Lance, are you excited to be on this whole very different show?
Of course, man. Yeah. It's good to see you on the opposite side. Yeah, it's fun. I'm on Mondays. How unique, you know?
Yeah, no, I like when you're running the show. It means I don't have to do quite as much prep work.
I like being on this side. I'm like, hey, you take care of it. You got it.
Yeah, well, you deal with it all. For those of you that are unaware, Scream 5 came out in January of last year, and Lance and I actually reviewed it.
Yeah. It was like one of the first new movies I've ever talked about online. So. Yeah,
and it was a lot of fun. And so if you guys have not seen that episode, make sure you check that out, because today we're talking Scream 6. However, before we even get into that, in case you didn't know, Lance, I stole your segment. So, what you drinking?
No, it's not my segment. I give credit to John for this one. No, so I just got back from the theater like 4 or 5 minutes ago. I mean, I just got back, but I pre-made myself a Manhattan.
Ooh.
It's not great.
Oh.
I didn't have anything. I didn't have any like good stuff. In Manhattan, you want like a decent whiskey, but it's bourbon. It should be rye, but it is what it is. I felt I should a new movie, brand new. Talking with you, I thought I'd at least try. So I'm halfway there. What about you?
Is a Manhattan supposed to be with rye whiskey? Because I've only ever done it with bourbon.
Oh my
Shit.
God, yes,
dude!
yes.
I'm learning every single time I do any drinking with you. Then I learn that I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right. This is really important. Real quick. Okay, an old fashioned is bourbon. You could do others, but it's supposed to be bourbon, right? But a Manhattan, right? It's about 2 shots of a good rye whiskey, not like top shelf, but you don't want to go bottom either. You know, no Evan Williams shit here. Pardon my French. Then you want to do about a shot of sweet vermouth, 2 heavy shakes of bitters, stir, put it in chilled glass, and you're good to go. No ice. And that's how you know if you're getting a bad one. They fill that puppy with ice, walk away.
Okay, then. Well, I guess I need to make a proper Manhattan. Though, to be fair, I am more of a bourbon guy than a rye whiskey, so I don't know. I went much simpler, and I just have a beer this time because this is the only thing I had in my fridge. So, Two Hearted. It's Bell's Two Hearted Ale. It's very delicious.
Bell's is Michigan, am I correct?
Yes, Bell's is Michigan, but they are pretty much national at this point because they're one of those big brewers. So, cheers.
I'm in to Scream 6.
To Wes.
To Wes! Beautiful son of a bitch.
In Scream 6, the survivors of last year's Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City. First of all, I know that people are worried in terms of clicking on any video like this and spoiler discussion. So I will say right off the bat, we're going to very briefly do a non-spoiler discussion, and then the majority of this will be spoilers, but there will be a tag when we get to spoilers. Non-spoiler. What'd you think?
I love that I'm on your show talking about Scream. You know, like I'm probably the least qualified because I don't love the series. I did see 1, 2, and 3 in theaters, and I saw 1, 2, and 3 the day they came out. I have my tickets from 1 and 2 somewhere in my room. I used to keep all my tickets. So I don't really deserve to be here, but I love that I am.
Yeah, for anyone that missed out on Friday's episode of Arrow in the Head show, Lance apparently hates the Scream series.
Honestly, I hate it so much. I got so angry. I hated 4. That was a rough one. I edited that one myself, and man, I took a beating. It was rough. But okay, non-spoilers, I would say this might be my favorite sequel. That's not saying a lot, but I would say that I was less annoyed than I've ever been, and it had some fun moments. And I think the change of scenery in New York was probably the best thing that could have come out of this series, getting out of what I assume is Northern California, even though the boring part, like, Scream 1 was like, that was Northern California. And then it's 2 and 3 and 4, and it was all just some backlot. But yeah, man, I don't hate this.
Oh my God, dude, I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really shocked because I kind of was expecting you to just be like, okay, there was part of me that was like, okay, Lance is gonna like this, but he's gonna like this in like did you see this bullshit? Did you see this?
Listen, there's a couple bullshit scenes, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying.
We'll get into that.
But I'm saying, yes, I don't hate it.
That's awesome to hear because I also, shockingly, did not hate this movie. I would say that I don't have the same reaction that I had when I left Scream 5, where when I left the theater from Scream 5, I was like, holy shit, fucking amazing. And about halfway through this movie, I thought it was going to be the same, but there's issues in the second half we'll talk about later. And the main thing that I can say about this film is that this cast is so goddamn likable. I fucking love this cast. I guarantee I'm going to watch this movie so many more times just because I enjoy hanging out with, as they put it, the core four. Like, I enjoyed all of that. And I had a really big issue with Melissa Barrera, the Sam Carpenter, and it seems like she took acting lessons.
Classes?
Yeah.
I wrote that down. I said, look at her stepping up her game, because that's what Yumi complained about. I was like, man, this should be Ortega's movie. And this Melissa Barrera, I was like, not too bad.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, she stepped up. She stood up or stepped up, whatever the proper.
Which also, that just makes me like her more too, because it says to me that she saw those criticisms from Scream 5 and did something about it, which is good because, I mean, it's not just you and I that, like, it's a pretty wide spanning thing of her being the weak point of that film. So.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting there in this attic and I'm 13 and I just found out my dad isn't my dad.
Today, Junior?
I wouldn't say that she like nails it here, but I think she does I think she does so much better than she did in the last film. And I actually really enjoyed her.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Everybody held their own. People that I didn't like, because I gotta be honest, I didn't like 5. I didn't hate 5. Like I did 4. I hate 4. I hate 3. But 5 had some moments, and the Meeks people were fine. I was more on Ortega's side. Tara, sorry, Beth names. I got a little list here. But no, I mean, I would say both the Meeks were pretty decent in this. Sam stood up. Ortega's Tara, I just think I like her style. So I'm all about that. No, I would say cast-wise, except for Dermot.
Dermot Mulroney? I was
like, he was in a...
I like him.
I think he was in the wrong movie, buddy.
Oh, really? I enjoyed his performance. Honestly, in terms of performances, there's a lot. I usually have a problem with performances most horror movies have just issues in general, but I don't know. There wasn't really anyone here other than in the third act, which we'll get into. But other than stuff in the third act, I didn't really have a problem with, which the third act, there's always such there's overacting and the monologue and all of that. So I expect that to an extent. And for the most part, I think that everyone here just does, acts, which is awesome.
They stood up. Everybody came back a little stronger. And I appreciate that. I
couldn't agree more, but I will say that we're not going to have fun talking about this if we have to avoid spoilers. So I wanted to just have a brief little part at the beginning of the show. So if you have not seen the movie, stop watching here. It's spoilers from here on out because we got to get into some stuff. Holy shit. I got to say, I think that the opening kills in this are my favorite next to the original. I fucking loved the whole Samara Weaving thing, and then when it goes into the killer reveal right at the beginning, I don't know, I loved that so much, where especially after that opening, the whole opening, I can't say scene because that's technically like multiple scenes stitched together, but it's so well done. And it's such a unique way of doing it. There's a lot of stuff with 5 where it was essentially just a remake of the first film in a lot of ways.
A requel.
A requel. But in this one, it actually feels like a legit sequel where they're able to actually utilize some new ideas and do some things where it doesn't feel like they're having to just follow what came before. This feels like, okay, they did that in 5. Now they can start expanding upon things that they want to expand upon, because I don't know, I just didn't expect them to take it into such interesting ways so quickly, because I'm not sure if you noticed, but you could see Sam Carpenter was at the bar the bar that what's her name's at.
Yeah, the little trendy.
Unless I saw wrong, she's there with her friends. Yeah, which I could have totally misseen it, but I'm fairly, because I was like, oh, we're seeing her, and then it's like, oh, it shows Samara Weaving, so it's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna see her instead. So I like that it was like a little bit of a, for me, maybe I just fucking made it up, but it seemed like a little bit of a red herring.
The answer to this mystery is obvious. The red herring.
I guess for me, it's like, oh, they are trying to set up throughout the movie that Sam might be the killer. So then the fact that she is there at the scene in the beginning, it kind of helped me kind of.
Okay, but we both know that she was going to be the killer. There's no way. They wouldn't go that far.
Okay, so I have to ask, if you're a producer on this movie, you leak Sam in Ghostface mask doing the killer reveal, right?
Well, I can tell you what they leaked because I watched and read a bunch of the stuff, and it was half wrong, actually. I went into this real cocky, like, I got this. I know this because I don't care about spoilers and Scream. It's like, it makes me feel better. And half the stuff that I read was wrong, actually. Kirby died, I read, and so did Ortega, and they both lived. So,
I would have been so mad.
I know, I was like, oh, you're killing off the cute little, like, bouncy girl that she's the soul of the series. No, I mean, how about this? I like the opening more or less because it is different, and it's not a scene. I mean, it's essentially the opening act before the Scream logo is essentially a little mini story. It's like a little short of these two guys. Mm-hmm. Well, you never see the second one live, but it's their little story, and then it ties into the bigger one kind of in a way. But I don't know, that's cool. That's cool.
I don't care about your fucking movie or whatever he says. Yeah.
It stabs Samara Weaving, which I just funny. I don't think I've ever heard a real accent. I was like, holy shit, she sounds like Crocodile Dundee. Exactly. I've heard Australians speak before. I'm a big Jim Jeffries fan. I've seen him live, but I mean, it's like, oh, I never heard it, but I love her and I always will. But no, it was cool. It was a cool little opening. It was mean. I would say this is the bloodiest one, even though I got to be honest, I kind of want them to go farther, but at least it was meaner than 5, and 5 was the mean one. So I was like, okay, that's a cool little starter pack.
It was so mean. Shit, I feel like the total stab count in this movie is what, like 200 probably?
Well, that's something I really did appreciate because I've rewatched all of them recently, and it's usually like, gah. And
then they're dead.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to the negatives because I think stabbing people now is the new shoulder shot with a bullet. But I do like the fact that it was like everybody who got stabbed was like a minimum of 10. It's like, that's okay. There we go. I'm taking this. Yeah. That's the mean part, exactly. Everybody kept getting just like overly stabbed. And I was like, that's how you do it though. Not just twice. You want to leave Kirby alive again. You go in there for the count, Yeah,
and they just go to town. And I like too that they kind of go into a little bit of the psyche of the killer with this opening guy where he mentions of like, she no longer was a person. She was just an animal. Like where
I kept going.
Yeah, I liked that. And then, I mean, as soon as it's happening, it's like, oh, this is going to get turned around on him. That's going to be great. I loved that. I liked that they went as far as they did in terms of the roommate's demise, in terms of him being in the fridge.
Yeah,
that is
dismembered.
Yeah, they have never gone that far in the series.
Scream has always been actually very light for an R rating. I always joke with Scream is kind of people that once they cross the PG-13 R rating line, they stop. They really do. I mean, they've never really gone far, and even this one isn't far enough. but it's the farthest it's gone, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, I have a feeling there's going to be people that don't like that kind of grody stuff, that like that imagery is going to sit with them.
Yeah, I can see that, because Scream has always been light. I mean, even at its meanest, it is sort of safer from the gore. This to me is the goriest.
It's the goriest, and it's also, I mean, I think that the build up to this, they mention so much of how, you know, this is the meanest that Ghostface has been.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
But there's never been one like me, Gale.
I don't know, I guess I anticipated that to be just in his kills, but that's not really the case. He obviously is, but it's how he speaks. There's a venom to everything that he says. There's nothing, because I watched after the movie, I came back here because I had to wait for Lance to get out of the movie to be able to record, and so I threw in 5. It has a different, that Ghostface just is so much, you can pretty much just like hear Richie and Amber just like loving the fact that they're able to be Ghostface. Meanwhile, this Ghostface, they're fucking pissed because of reasons, which we'll get into in a little bit.
I didn't catch it myself, but I'll be honest, I usually wouldn't at that kind of stuff. I didn't really, because, you know, I'm noticing like the dumber stuff. Like the first thing I thought was, so they have a 3-bedroom apartment in New York on the college students.
So big.
I was like, what a beautiful, nice, luxurious place. And even when the 2 dorky kids at the beginning have that, which I'm glad they fixed through the reveal at the end, but when they have that space, I was like, how much does that cost in New York? 2 college students. That's kind of stuff that I didn't hear the voice as much. I was like, okay, this place has to be $4,000 a month. Easy.
At least. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in the third act that is very movie. That's the only way to really put it. I think that it still was a satisfying way for it to go, in terms of we got to see a lot of the elements of the prior films, because so they always do the whole speech of, this is a sequel, this is a trilogy, this is a, legacy sequel, this is a requel. We're finally to franchise.
Okay, hold on. I got to ask you a question, because I wrote this down. Why is this a franchise? It's 6. Wouldn't the franchise be at 4? Because a trilogy is usually what a normal series was for most of our existence, and after that, it's a franchise, no?
It's just them having another thing, because they've already, they could have done franchise for the other ones, but they're not talking about the franchise as a whole. The other ones are talking about the remake trend, and the other one's talking about the legacy sequels. So now this is just talking about just the ever expanding, the sequelitis thing, where it's like there's never an ending. This is a franchise.
Let me ask you this, because I'm not obviously the biggest fan, but I did feel that the details in the sort of, I don't know, let's call it the dedication chamber, whatever that little movie theater place was with all the props and shit, that seemed pretty authentic in terms of details to me. So for you, did you feel that they nailed it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The detail was fucking phenomenal. Like, I was shocked, and it's to that level where it's like, wait, how are they able to get all of this stuff? That kind of thought like leads in, but like I've seen so much of those Scream movies where I was shocked to see some of the pieces that they actually brought back. They had the stupid little fax machine that blows up in the 3rd movie.
Oh, is that the little melted telephone?
Yes.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, I didn't remember that, but I hate the 3rd, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's the TV from Stu.
Yeah.
And did you notice that? I got angry at this, where they fucking played that car where it's like, do you think he's actually dead? And I'm like, the FBI agent knows the answer to that. Why didn't she say that? She should be like, yes, he's buried at Resurrection Cemetery out in Cicero. You know, it's like they avoid that.
Yeah, because he's coming back next movie.
Yes, they're gonna. Yeah,
they've been setting it up. I've been on this.
I caught that, and I was like, oh, the FBI agent didn't confirm his death by playing a little lost right there, where it's just like what every quiets.
So I'll say right now, with 5, I guessed Richie. I did not guess this one because I was convinced throughout most of the movie that it was Stu until that line you just mentioned. Because then I'm like, oh yeah, shit, it's not him. They wouldn't say that line. That might be for a future one. Especially the working backwards angle. I was like, oh yeah, it's working backwards to the original killers. But then obviously they did not do that, which is fine. It's not.
Yeah, that would have been a cool little thing. Because yes, they were weird because they had the whole little fucking whiteboard with all the pictures and string. I mean, have string, but my mom did. Yeah, that would have been a good little thing.
I really liked that the killer was leaving the masks from the prior films. Like, that was interesting to me. Or, well, from the prior, whatever, murders. Or the one aspect that it was really weird was that they pretty much established that all the killers had different outfits. I just kind of assumed that they were doing some sharing, some like outfit sharing. Because there was 9 killers and there was 9 Ghostface costumes.
Okay.
I just assumed that there was a little bit of, sharing of the costume.
I never thought about that. Especially for the first one, they would have just used the same one.
Yeah.
Assumed they didn't buy 2. But I mean, dude, at this point.
Oh yeah, but again, like that's just like the weird. That's the kind of stuff that I think, because it's not. Again, I'm not saying that as a, oh my god, the movie was ruined because of this.
No, I would say something like that. Like how about this? I want one little negative right now. There's no way that Gale Weathers would have a gun safe. Maybe Sidney Prescott with a kid, but not Gale Weathers living in a fucking penthouse. That should be in a drawer. Mine's in a drawer. Mine can get access in 4 seconds. But I'm just saying that she was like messing up the thing. I was like, nah, it would have been out. It would have been out. But I mean, listen, I'm not going to be that guy this episode because it's the 6th entry and it is what it is. It is what it is. And the good gunshot was the shotgun scene. That was cool. So,
oh, yes. That was really well done.
Yeah.
Really tense. There was a lot of really tense scenes in this. The bodega scene was really tense. I think that the ladder scene was also pretty tense.
Yeah, the ladder scene was really cool. I mean, I am that guy. So the first thing I thought was Judgment Night. I was like, this should be Cuba Gooding Jr. getting across, and then what's his name, Dennis Leary chasing you, but whatever. I thought that was cool, and he was like shaking it aggressively, trying to knock her off. I was like, that's fun. I thought he was just going to try to push it up, and he's like messing with her, and she's like losing her balance. I was like, okay, Ghostface, that's fun. I was like, I like you, even though she should have lived. She was a cutie, man. I like that girl. I wrote it down because I was trying to be a nice person. Annika.
Yes. I'm right there with you. I was a big fan of Annika.
Of course. I think everybody was.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, genuinely, the only character that I didn't like was...
Oh, Ethan?
Ethan, yes.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I also I feel bad saying this. I hated him in Avatar Way of the Water. He's Spider.
Oh my God.
Didn't you get that kind of annoying look from him? Like, no offense, and I mean this in the nicest way. Because it's not the actor, it's just, I think, how his stupid hair.
Well, they were trying to do a Richie thing, too.
Yeah, they were trying to make him dorky, and I get that, but it's just like, but he's also the kind of dorky guy where I'm like, I know what people look like in shape. It's the Halloween Ends thing where it's like, they put a big shirt, it's like, I'm a virgin. It's like, bitch, you're 6'2" and in shape. I'm not stupid.
Dude, I had no idea that was Spider.
What about, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of so at the therapist session, we're going to jump back to Spider, but one thing, I was at the therapist session, right? I'm like, I like this guy's beard. And then they tilt the camera for a second. I'm like, oh my God, that's the guy from Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
That's the guy who's just like, Mr. Hunt. I was like, that's the guy.
The guy who's back. He's back in the new Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
I didn't know that. But I was like, good for that guy. Solid beard, growing gray, but handsome.
I am so glad that I am not the only person that when he popped up was like, hey, Mission Impossible.
Well, at first I was like, he looks familiar, but I was like, he must just be like, he had that face, but his voice. I was just like, in my head, I was like, Mr. Hunt? I was like, oh my God, it's him. So him, but to tie back to, so the first, the Ethan guy, I was like, why do I not like you? And then I'm not trying to be mean, but I was like, something about the guy just rubbed me the wrong way. And then I was like, he's Spider. That
totally makes sense. And we haven't gotten into it yet, and I still don't want to. I kind of want to leave it for as long as possible. But there's another character, the roommate of Sam and Tara. And again, don't know her name. Liana Liberato. I know that's her real name.
Oh, it's Quinn. Quinn.
Yes. So I actually really enjoyed Quinn before she died. I thought she was very interesting in that I always like when they make the slutty character like just a human being, like where they're like, yeah, I like to have sex.
Sex positive.
Yeah. And she didn't seem like she was, I don't know. I hate when they just make them just absolute I don't know, horror bags. Like, and she just seemed like a normal human being, which was nice. Maybe I need to cut that out. Well, I don't know what YouTube's policy is.
Well, I mean, I don't know if horror bag, they might not catch it. It's kind of a fake word, you know? Straight up.
I don't know if I've ever used that word before.
Yeah, no, I don't even heard it. I was like, okay, horror bag. Yeah, I mean, she was cool, man. I like her. I mean, I didn't mind her at all. She was banging a bunch of dudes and having a good time. God bless. I salute. That's what I would say, you know?
I got to ask you. So I know you noticed the Jason Takes Manhattan
right away.
and Invasion of the Body Snatchers on the TVs.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that, but I immediately thought of you the moment they mentioned Psycho 2 being underrated.
I was very happy. Now, I actually wrote this down because I went through an array of emotions in like 8 seconds when dames Mindy Meeks and Kirby were going back and forth, right? They ended, or the middle ground or the beginning. One of them, I guess I just named every part that could be in. When they go, Psycho 2 is underrated, I was like, there we go. But here's where I have issues. I got to bring this up. So Kirby, she only likes Jason Ford because she has a crush on Corey Feldman, not because it's a great movie. And I'm sorry, Mindy Meeks is favorites part 2. I'm not saying part 2 is not bad. I like part 2, but that's your favorite Jason. I disagree with you on a fundamental level. Fundamental. And I got a big issue where they both agreed that the remake or requel and the original Candyman are equal. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? As a Chicagoan, as somebody who's born in Cook County, that is offensive to me. I was like, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to walk out right now. I mean, you could respect the requel. Fine. It's not a bad movie. I think I gave it a 6 or a 7. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it does not compare to the beautiful original. And I was a little like, you guys are being a little too cute and hip for your own good here.
No, I'm 100% with you. As soon as they even brought that up, I was just like, you're trying to be cute, but it's really not fun.
You're trying to, I'm glad Twitter's on your side. Like, I'm sorry. No. And Jason Ford, just because of Corey Feldman, it's like, dude, Ford is good. Like, I don't know. I was maybe, again, Jason's personal. That's why I got this giant thing behind me. So I took it. But I think I mentioned once, I really loved Christmas Bloody Christmas. But
yes.
It's a good example. They were both defending Pet Sematary 2, but then they had this argument on Soundgarden and their long hair. And I nearly flipped my couch. The girl's like, they suck at Supernova. I was like, take it back. So how about this? I appreciate the back and forth. I don't agree with all of it, but the Psycho 2 part did warm my heart. It did.
I was hoping so. I'm glad that you, because I immediately thought of you during it.
Yeah, I memorized the entire part because I was like, we're talking about this when I get back.
Well, and I also, one thing I forgot to bring up in the beginning, I went to the 3D fan event. So I saw this movie in 3D.
It was at like 5 or 5:30, right?
It was at 5. And
how was the 3D? I mean, it can't be good. It can't be.
No, it was awful.
Post-conversion, all that crap, right?
Well, and the biggest issue is it's essentially like watching the movie through like fog. Like nothing was super 3D. It was more just like things weren't crisp. Nothing was crisp.
There was dimension, but everything was like a nice high definition 480p, right?
Yeah, it was and someone like, I really care about quality, and it was a problem. So I'm 100%. I already have tickets to see it next week. So I'm going, genuinely, if I didn't have to edit this video tomorrow, I would be seeing it tomorrow. But when I left the fan event, I was actually given this Scream 6 poster.
That's a cool poster, buddy. That's a cool poster.
Yeah, it even has like you can see like stab. It has on the I don't know. I love that. I didn't know that was part of it. I just went to it because it was the earliest screening, and that was totally worth it.
But that's kind of stuff that is rare, or not even. It doesn't matter if it's rare per se, because I guess a lot of people have it, but it's unique. I don't know if you noticed. I tend not to have. I don't have any traditional movie poster in my room. And it's funny because I don't even like Freddy's Dead, but I think it's a gorgeous poster. But I mean, like, I like stuff like that. Like that Scream 6 stab thing. That's cool. I dig that, man. I dig that a lot, actually.
I can't wait to get that thing up on my wall. For those that saw the last episode, they might notice a new part on my wall. I have the Slumber Party Massacre 2 poster. I'll lift my mic so you can see it a little better.
Wait a second. What did that replace?
I had a Captain America. It was like Kendrick Lamar as Captain America painting that I got from some artist in Indianapolis a few years ago.
It's a fun little town. I got my brother lives out there, so fair enough.
Yeah, I like that little town.
Fair enough.
But yeah, cool little thing. And now that Scream 6 will be up there somewhere as well, because again, I really enjoyed this movie. And another aspect that I liked that I wouldn't have expected to like, because Jenna Ortega is my girl. And so I didn't expect the Tara and Chad relationship to develop, but I really liked that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Of course you didn't.
No, I thought it was like, dude, I just felt it was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seemed forced. Personally,
see, that was why I actually liked it. Was for me, it didn't feel forced a lot. I fucking hate just like romance plots, just for romance plots.
This wasn't one for you.
No, it genuinely didn't feel like it. And I think, again, for me, I think it's because of the fact that I enjoy 5 so much. So then those characters are so separate in 5, and so it's not a thing where what
I just thought of like, why are they all in the same place? Is this Saved by the Bell summer edition? Like, they all decided to move to New York and all go to the same fucking school, all 4 of them? I don't know.
It is kind of funny. Well, and 2, because it's like, I don't think Randy's sister is exactly rolling in dough, though that house in 5 was pretty nice. So maybe she is. How is she sending both of her kids to New York?
And what I assume to be, they didn't show it, but the Tara and Sam's apartment is a fucking mansion in New York. Yeah. I know. I have friends in New York. I've been in New York. Yeah. It's very small.
And that's another thing I want to bring up. I definitely could not stop seeing Montreal instead. Like, it didn't feel very New Yorky.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm a Vancouver guy. I've been there a bunch of times. Never been to Montreal. I didn't notice anything. I mean, I got to be honest. As much shit as we give Jason Takes Manhattan, which I have defended online, I have and always will, at least there was like a cool Times Square moment. This actually avoided almost everything New York, except for just the urban setting, which was good enough for me. But I will admit, for being set in New York, they actually did nothing with it.
Nothing.
And I know it's
Subway.
in Montreal.
Subway.
Okay, fair enough. But fucking can you walk in Manhattan once? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, there was no walking anywhere. It was always just dark alleys, and then maybe some establishing shots of like a drone.
I agree that it is really weird that they didn't just take the cast out to New York for a couple days just to get just like shots. Well, you know what I mean? Them walking.
This was kind of promoted as them being the city. I mean, and again, I know that I pick on so much shit here, but as much as I would pounce on this movie for not using New York, I'm just happy they got out of the California suburbs. I'm just so happy to see some grime, a bodega. I lived next to a couple bodegas for many years. It's like, okay, whatever, just help me out. But you're right though. I didn't really paste it together until right now, but it really didn't use anything. I mean, and again, I don't know New York. Is that even a real New York subway? You could fool my Chicago ass. I don't know.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, that's another thing. Like I say that as someone who has never been to New York, just watched a lot of movies. I can only imagine how real New Yorkers feel when they see this.
Well, you know, Jason Takes Manhattan, the subway part was not in New York anyway, so. And it fooled me. So yeah, who knows, man? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, my biggest issue was the final shot. The final shot just like didn't look like New York to me, and so I don't know.
Wait, what was the final shot?
The final shot is the heroes walking away, and it goes up and it pans to the city skyline.
They were in like some weird alley. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a low shot from an alley shooting up at the skyline, because they clearly digitally imposed New York behind like a building in Montreal, but it just, I don't know, it didn't work. And again, it's such a minor thing. My complaints in this are very minor. Just like Kirby being an FBI agent. It's like, this is a little silly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I'm the guy that usually will jump on this. I feel like I'm weird in this episode because I'm like, but you're right though. I don't know if you've ever seen Adventures in Babysitting.
A long time ago.
Classic movie. Don't fuck with Babysitter. But in that movie, there's this diamond building. I can't think what it's called, but it's on, I think it's like 101 or whatever. It's on Michigan Avenue. I used to drive past it to work every day. But in that movie, they kept looking up to it everywhere they were. And so it was like superimposed. It's like, okay, well, where they're at makes no sense to where they're seeing it. And I felt like that was this movie where they always looked up and there's like I don't know, like some famous New York building, probably like some spiral. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but I don't care. It's Scream 6. I'm with you, man. I mean, they're having fun, and honestly, my issues with this are the issues with the entire series, but I don't think this one was egregious in any way that it hasn't been before.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me. You know, you mean we're basically fighting it, arguing for, you know?
Yeah.
God, John, you and John were just
Hey, to be fair, you're lucky too. Usually I fucking like love 4, and you just happened to catch me on a day where the lighting was really bugging me.
You're in your head, you're like, oh.
It's like, I don't want to agree with him on this. But okay, another thing, because I know we got to get into the twist, but another thing I want to talk about is, so going into this, I thought for sure Gale Weathers was going to die. And that scene was so fucking good. I didn't realize she's never talked to Ghostface. That's fucking nuts. She finally gets her moment on the phone, and then, dude, she fucking fights. There's no one that's fought like her. Like, that was fucking awesome. And then, I mean, and I'm really glad too that she survived, because throughout it's like they were really leaning into it, to the point where I was like, it's to the point where I hope she survives. Like at the beginning of the scene, I'm like, okay. She's gonna get it.
I actually agree. I think it's a fun scene. I have 2 issues though, and this is where good old Lance has come out. One, my big issue in this entire movie is that getting stabbed is actually not a problem. Getting stabbed in your vital lower intestines, your liver, your kidneys, it's all good, baby. It's fine. Gale Weathers was stabbed a couple times in what I would assume would be shots that she would die. But whatever, fine, that's the world. But I did like that she kicked ass. I did not like that she was shooting randomly. It bothers me. She should have 2 hands on that gun. I don't know if you know this. Do this, you hold the gun. There you go.
I mean, there's a lot with that, because it's like, why is she, like, that gun should be next to her on the couch.
Well, she also walked out of the room, though. She should have headed back to the wall and be like, I'm fucking staying here, buddy. Come in. Come on.
Yeah, that too. But it's like, in her apartment, she should have just had it sitting next to her.
That's what I told you about the stupid safe. It's like, what is she protecting it from?
Yeah.
She's not single, but she's a motherless woman in a penthouse apartment living life. Yeah. Like,
I know her poor boyfriend.
I know this poor guy's trying to get Uber Uber Eats and just gets murdered. Even though, and they make a mention all those muscles he couldn't fight. I was like, I like that line. That's a cool line.
Yep. You know? Yeah. So we got to get into it. They have a nice little red herring with where it seems like they're setting up Kirby. And any true fan, I feel like the moment that even is happening, you're like, Kirby's not going to be the killer. There's no fucking way. And so then when they finally reveal that it's been Richie's family, Richie from the 5th film, it's his family on a revenge mission. I'll say right now, I think it's the weakest reveal next to Roman in 3. However, I think it's something that will grow on me. I think it's mostly, I fucking hated their performances, and Dermot I didn't have a problem with. I think he was the one that I actually enjoyed the most. But the 2 kids, oh my God, especially Ethan once he's entering like psycho mode. Oh, that kid. And you telling me that it's Spider too. I'm like, oh fuck, right? No wonder I hated him so much. But then too, I was annoyed because I enjoyed Liana Liberato's Quinn. I enjoyed Quinn so much that then, I mean, the reveal, obviously, you know, it's going to be her. And she just feels like a completely different character was my main issue. Is like, what the fuck? Where did this person come from?
Okay, but that's okay. Here's the thing. You are 100% right. And it's funny because I was less bothered by this. I think because I don't love the series because I think it's a soap opera, and it absolutely is a telenovela for horror fans. It absolutely is, dude.
I'm a wrestling fan. You know that, right? Like, I like wrestling.
Okay, I didn't, but okay. So, okay, fair enough. But that's the same shit. The reason I bring this up is that I think it's always stemmed back from the first one where they got really wacky at the end, but it made sense, I think, that one time. But the Scream series, they do this shit every time where, like, every time somebody reveals a killer, they're just like, it's like, okay, dude, take it down. Like McDermott got so goofy, I was like, buddy, you're in the wrong movie. Like, No, dude. No.
Dude, but
he was
you didn't. My first thought was like, oh, it was him. He was Ghostface the whole fucking movie.
I assume so because that sweet little girl,
Quinn.
Liberato.
Yeah, Liana Liberato.
Only thing she could have done was stab the girl sitting on the train. Besides that, nothing could have been her. I'm sorry. I said this about my issue with 4, which is I can't have children being the killers. And with Ethan, though, again, that's the same thing with Halloween Ends, where they just like have him like lean over and I'm supposed to believe he's a dork. It's like, motherfucker, I could see like his triceps. But I mean, the cop, I knew that was the one thing I knew going in because that's
you
what
did know.
They said it was Ethan and him, the cop. I didn't know about the girl. I didn't care about it, but but to me, it's like they always go like to 10 when they reveal. They're always just like this wacky thing, and so I didn't hate it, but I mean, I'm used to it because I think they all do that. I remember 3 was like the director and brother. You never loved me. It's like,
yeah. 3 is rough.
But they all get in that thing, buddy. Even number 5, dude. They're just like, it's not about the requel. It's a cop.
Dude, but that's where you and I have just a big disconnect.
Of course.
I'm a comic book guy, so I love villain monologues. That is my shit. I think I said it in the Scream 4 episode. If I was to kill people,
you do the
I
same.
would want to explain. They need to know why they're dying.
Okay, but let's meet in the middle. You could explain, but your tone has to be equal or lower than what your tone was before. It can't, because Ethan was essentially just like, him and his sister were just like,
they became like the Joker.
Yes, yes, the Joker. And again, I don't care as much because I'm like, whatever. It's whatever every fucking ending villain does in these movies. But I'm surprised that Dermot didn't do the same to you. I felt he was hamming up a lot, and then by the end, he had this like whole thing where he talked to the side of his mouth like Drew Barrymore. I was like,
dude, I'll tell you right now, always been a big Dermot Mulroney fan. I always will be. Love the guy.
So that's funny. I was like, what do I know him from? Right? And I looked
My best friend's wedding.
Okay, I've never seen that. Know what I know him from? You know how weird I am? I looked at all the stuff and I don't remember him. There's stuff he's in that I don't remember him from that I've seen. I was like, oh, he's the guy from Copycat and The Trigger Effect. And then I was like, I'm old. And I sat back and I got sad and I grew some grays. I mean, I thought he was in like a doctor show or some sort of soap opera, but I mean, besides, the Scream series.
I think maybe he was on Desperate Housewives or something. I don't know. I remember him from Friends too. That was my thing. Love me some Friends.
I was a Seinfeld guy. Friends was too cute. They're too happy. They're always about like loving each other and solving problems and being together. Dude. I like that Seinfeld, everybody just hated each other and they're all cynical. I was like, it's my show.
Friends, oh god, dude, you watch Friends, you gotta watch Friends again with the mindset that they're all such assholes, and it changes the whole concept of the show. And
Chandler's on like painkillers the whole time. I kind of want to watch it for that, just see him just be like,
just watch it, and just view Phoebe as an absolute sociopath, and it's just like everything is so entertaining. But back to Scream 6. Another thing that I really, really liked that was an improvement over 5 was the Billy stuff. And I think that a big portion of it, you and I have talked about this before. It's one of the things I didn't like in 5.
I didn't either.
But you're the one that wants all the supernatural stuff. I'm shocked you're not into it, but I really enjoyed that they were smart they shortened the moments, and then they also were smart and made sure he's only reflections in glass, dark, and it's dark. One of the big mistakes that they made in 5 was he was so well lit, way too well lit. So then it's like, holy shit, that's a fucking 50-year-old man. Okay,
but my issue in 5 is the same issue in here, which is she didn't know her dad. How does he know what he looked like? I mean, he basically is dressed like his right before he died when he was torturing Sydney. It's like, why does she think of that?
Because did you not see in 5 they even have like the true crime thing that's on the murders, that it shows like it's pretty much a screenshot from Scream showing
why does she
Bill.
Think that? I don't like that. I like supernatural, but this is like it's a cock tease where it's like, okay, now I need him to haunt and then invade people's space. But just like it's in her. Well, I told you that if Stu comes back to the dead, I am all in. Okay, here's the thing that I want from Scream. I want one of the killers to be revealed halfway through, and then it to be a movie where you're trying to stay alive from Stu or somebody else. I need some change, but I mean, I didn't like it. I mean, I guess they were smarter. I will agree. They definitely dialed it back.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there was a couple times where I was just like, it was like, you want to do it? You know, you like it. I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, fair enough. She's still small. I mean, she's not, it's better than Ortega being the killer. I mean, that would be just like a 5'1" girl just running around.
Hey, I like though. She had a little bit of like tenacity to her. I like when she stabbed the guy in the eye.
Oh,
Ethan in the eye.
Well, he in the mouth. I thought his mouth. No, the mouth.
Or in the mouth. He's yeah. What's his name? Dermot got stabbed in the eye.
Yes.
There was a lot of the therapist got stabbed in the face, like
in the nose. Yeah.
There's a bunch of insane stabbings that we don't ever really see. Usually, it's just like basic, just the chest, but this was really brutal.
I agree. I appreciate the aggressive stabbiness to the soul. I do.
I don't know. They did a good job with the trying to think of anything else in terms. Oh, the masks. I liked all the different masks. How they all are like degrading as it goes along because it's showing like the different. How they do it is that they show as someone dies, like the mask from 5 is left, mask from 4, 3, and it like counts down. So as it goes along, the mask gets more and more decayed. So I liked that because you can't really have that in many movies because it wouldn't work in many films other than a Scream film because of how like the whole point is it being self-referential.
Good eye. I just noticed the main one they kept using. I didn't actually catch the degrading of this series masks.
Yeah, which I don't know. I liked that. And you mentioned too of how you want a Scream movie where they reveal the killer halfway through. And actually, when they revealed the first killer, I was immediately like, oh my God, that's what they're doing for this one. They're subverting expectations and they're revealing one of the killers right off the bat.
I would have liked that. That would have been ballsy.
Me too.
That would have been something where I was like, okay, because I don't always need a whodunit. I don't really care. I mean, Scream, I think, is beyond that. You could still have a monologue if they're all about the monologues. And let me be very clear. I am pro monologue. I love the monologues in Bly Manor, Haunting in Hill House, and
Midnight Mass is just monologue after monologue. It's amazing.
It broke my heart when she talks about her dead child. I'm crying like a yeah. So I don't mind those. I don't like them, but I mean, at this point, they're a part of the series. So whatever, you got to do what you got to do. But I still would like a subversion on whodunit because I think at this point, it's really. I almost think we should grow up past it personally. But again, that's coming from someone who doesn't generally love the series.
Yeah.
So
can't do Scream without a whodunit. That's just this Scream fan's opinion. But I don't think you can do it without a whodunit. But again, also too, like how I thought it was going, I thought they were revealing the one guy and then there was going to be like another killer that then they'd reveal at the end. So I figured there would still be that whodunit aspect, but we would just be going parallel with knowing who one of the killers was. So, but that didn't end up happening. And
I will say this again, I think it's stupid ending, but I think they're all stupid except for the first one. But at least the two killers in this one are a family. So I believe that sort of reliability of trust. Whereas in 5 and 4 and 2, where I'm like, it's a little like, I guess, but we're stretching a lot. This, it's like, okay, a dad and a son and his daughter, I could get behind. I get behind more than 5, where it's like this guy met on a chat room. It's like, could have been a cop. But fair enough. So silly as it is, I am defending it a little, and look where I am now. How weird this is.
I mean, you seem to be enjoying this more so than some of the other sequels. So where would you rate this, or how would you rate this? And then we'll do where you would rank this amongst the series. Okay,
that's just hard because I passionately have a hatred for 3 and 4. So I'm in a weird spot. How about this? Realistically, this is a 6, but I
think you gave 5 a 6.
Okay. Well, then I guess maybe but I don't feel comfortable saying 7 because 7 is really good. I give good film 7. So how about this?
You don't think this is a good film?
I think it's not bad. It's not bad. I don't.
You don't think this is a good film? Come on.
Okay. This is where it gets weird though. There's nothing about this. I didn't feel a single ounce of tension. I wasn't nervous. I didn't jump. Like I'm not emotionally connected. So this is like a weird era I'm in where I'm like, I don't hate it. I'm going to say this. I think it's, in my ranking, it's a 6. But if I gave 5 a 6, I'm going to give 5 a 5. I'm going to
Okay.
dig it. I would say this. As a 6, that's a tall order because I would give 3 a 1. I gave 4, a 3 when we talked?
Yeah. Yep. You gave it a 3.
And I would give 1 a 9. And I would give 2 as, I don't know. This is so hard. How about this? I'm going to say a 6 or a 7, depending on my mood. But if it's a 7, it's a weak 7 that wouldn't be held up against other better 7s. So
it's a 6.5. I know you love those.
I hate points. Yeah, let's say 6.5, and I'm being real generous because what I would say is Scream 6 didn't annoy me as much as the others, and that is a feat I didn't think I'd ever be. I honestly walked into this movie ready to just fight with you, and I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad.
I was expecting it too, so this is all quite a surprise.
I know it's weird for both of us.
I know. Well, especially because I went into 4 thinking like it was going to be a fun time, and then it's like I fucking hate it. So I would say, I mean, I could easily see this going down, but I could also see it going up.
Interesting.
So right now, I am at an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. It's violent, which I love. And to me, the biggest thing is the characters. I am a huge character guy, and I fucking loved the characters in this movie. So I would rank it 8 out of 10. And in terms of like ranking it, I would probably put it, I don't know, like 3rd, probably behind
5. Yeah,
behind 5. Even though I realized, I think my Joe Blow ranking list I think it goes Scream 4, then Scream 5. So that goes to show. And I made that like a couple days before we did the show. So like that just shows how much I flip flop on all of these movies because I already changed opinion.
Okay, so wait, it's 1, of course, because that would be foolish not to have 1. And
yes,
then it's,
I would say right now it is 1, 5, 6, 4, 2, 3. Yes, I still really love 5, and I love it even more now after seeing 6.
Well, that's the start of the new, generation. That's essentially the new number 1.
Yeah, and I can't wait. For what they do with the 7th one because they've already said they've got an idea for the 7th one, and if people show up for 6, then they're gonna do a 7th, and it sounds like people are showing up for 6.
I didn't see a mid credit thing. Did you?
I did not stay, so I hope not. Okay. Scream does not do mid credit, so I would be mad if they did.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Stu's going to come back eventually because they let that out of the bag when they didn't confirm his death.
Did. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. And since we really covered Scream 6, so we're not going to do any movie news or a trailer reaction this week. That can be pushed back to next week because, again, we just had too much to talk about here. Next week should be I don't know. I'm hoping it's a fun one. The reviews aren't great for it, so I guess we'll see. Next week, covering 65 with Adam Driver.
I heard there was no critical screenings, which is usually the Suicide Cast.
27% on Rotten Tomatoes.
How can you mess that up? It's not time travel, but it's essentially it's like space travel and dinosaurs and Adam Driver. That makes no sense.
Either way, I'm ready for it. I'm down for dumb stuff.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah, join me for something stupid.
All right, well, Tyler, thank you for letting me join, even though that I am the least qualified. I find that very sweet of you. Bring me in for all the scripts so I could have no real opinion and just trying to shake the boat here.
Oh, dude, you're 100% going to be back for 7. I mean,
who knows? Might even like it. I mean, who would have thought I would like 6? Yeah, weird that was. I was like, it wasn't bad. At the theater, I was in this weird fog. I was like, what's even real anymore,
Wait till 7 goes the weird. Wait till they go the route that Stab 8 took, and it has Ghostface in a chrome mask and has a flamethrower and shit.
I'm all about that. Like I said before, I want Ghostface with guns, chainsaws, cool accessories. Let's get away from that fucking knife, man. That exact knife. The one that all they would have to do is just trace it, and they would just solve all sorts of murders. That's all.
Hey, that knife though. Apparently all these killers are getting their own because they had each of the individual knives.
That's what I'm saying. It's all the same exact knife.
All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, buddy. Be safe.